Hi everybody, Cindy with Super Mutts here. Today I'm going to be talking about jumping up. One of the most common questions we get asked as dog trainers is how do I keep my dog from jumping on me or jumping on my guests when they come over? And there's a couple different answers to this question. The first and the best answer is obviously train them when they're puppies. You will hear us say this often, and it's in our book Puppy Montessori, that it's easier to train good behaviors than undo bad ones. Training begins the moment you bring your puppy home. Train early and train often, that's our motto. Puppies learn minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. So every interaction you have with your puppy, he's learning from that. And teaching him not to jump on you should just be part of your training routine. Just as you would potty train them or kennel train them, you should also be training them how to behave and not to jump. And one way that you do this with small puppies is you do not reinforce or you just ignore the jumping behavior and you reinforce alternate behaviors such as sit or down or just all four on the floor. Later in this video I'll show you an 11-week-old puppy named Mugsy that I worked with recently, and you'll see just how quickly puppies pick up on this and how easy it is really to train a puppy not to jump. What if you have an older dog that jumps up? Maybe you acquired a dog that came with this behavior. Well, the first thing you need to recognize, and you'll hear us say this in all of our training videos, is how could I be reinforcing the behavior? We would say that most, if not all, unwanted behaviors are caused by the owner unknowingly. Once you identify what you're doing to reinforce the behavior, then you change what you're doing, and that will change the dog's response. So what do we mean by this? How could you be causing your dog's behaviors? Well, when it comes to jumping up, owners tend to reinforce the behavior by engaging with the dog while he or she is jumping on them. And the reason dogs jump up is to look you in the eye, to look in your face, and to get you to engage. And we reinforce this by giving attention, praise, talking to the dog. For instance, you come home from work, the dog jumps on you. You then look at the dog, talk to the dog saying, "Hi buddy, good boy, how was your day? You know, did you miss me?" Whatever you say to your dog when you come home. And you may even pet or rub the dog. And all of this is reinforcing to the dog. And it's telling the dog that this is the behavior I want from you. That when I come home, you jump on me and I'm going to reward you or reinforce this behavior because I want this behavior. So you're reinforcing it with the eye contact, with the petting or touching, and by talking to the dog. That's how you're reinforcing the behavior. So many people say, well, I don't reinforce my dog's jumping. I don't like my dog to jump. And when he jumps on me, I say, no, don't. I push him down. But he still jumps on me. The reason for this is because to you, saying no, don't, and stop mean just that because you know what the words mean. But to your dog, especially if you haven't taught him what no, don't, or stop means, then he doesn't know what those words mean. So it's reinforcing. You're still making the eye contact, you're still talking to him, and if you're pushing him away, you're actually making physical contact, which a lot of dogs take as play. So all of this is still rewarding or reinforcing to the dog. Another reason you may be unknowingly reinforcing the behavior is by being inconsistent in your training. Consistency is the key to all dog training. If you only train your dog half the time, you're going to get a half-trained dog. It's as simple as that. And what I mean by this is, say you come home on Monday and you're working on training your dog not to jump. So Monday you come home and you train an alternate behavior. And Tuesday you kind of had a bad day. All you want to do is just get home and see your dog. And so you come home and your dog jumps on you and you pet him and talk to him and reinforce him in the same manner you always had. And then Wednesday and Thursday rolls around and you work on the training. And then Friday rolls around, well, it's Friday. I really don't feel like training my dog. So you allow him to jump on you and you reinforce the jumping. What you're actually doing is training your dog to jump on you because you're putting him on an intermittent schedule of reinforcement. It will confuse the dog because one day he can jump on you and the next day he can't. So what he's going to do, he's going to wonder, is this the day I can jump or is it not? So he's always going to try the jumping because at times he gets reinforcement for it, other times he doesn't. But which time is it today? I don't know, so I'm going to jump and see if this is the day I can do it. The casinos understand this philosophy very well, and you see it when it comes to slot machines. You put your money in, you push the button or pull the lever. Sometimes you get a little money, sometimes you don't get any money. And sometimes you get a lot of money and sometimes you get a jackpot. So you never know when this is coming, and because the machine mixes it up and pays out at an intermittent interval, then this schedule of reinforcement is what keeps you pulling the lever and pushing the button. You never know when that jackpot's coming, so you keep trying, especially if the machine intermittently gives you a little teaser or reinforcement in the form of money. This is how all dog training works. In the learning stage of development, you give a continuous schedule of reinforcement. You give the dog a reward continuously until he learns the behavior. As the dog learns what you want from him, you then put the behavior on an intermittent schedule of reinforcement. This intermittent schedule of reinforcement creates a dog that responds very quickly and every time you give a command. He doesn't know if this time is the time he gets just a little reinforcement, if he's not going to get any reinforcement, or if he's going to get the jackpot. And he banks on the jackpot. He knows it's coming, he just doesn't know when. So he keeps engaging in the behavior. So in training any behavior, the key is consistency. If you want a 100% trained dog, you have to train the dog 100% of the time. So how do you get your dog to stop jumping on you? Well, if you have a puppy, you'll ignore the jumping behavior and you're going to reward an alternate behavior. Let's take a look at Mugsy and you'll see what I mean. This is Mugsy, and as you can see, he's jumping on me, so I'm going to ignore that behavior. And I'm going to wait for him to sit for just a second, and then I'm going to reward that, even if it's just for a millisecond. As soon as his rump touches the ground, I'm going to reward. Good. And so right now he's going to go through a series of what just got that reward. It was jumping on her getting the reward, or was sitting getting the reward. So he offered both behaviors. I rewarded when he sat. And again, it was only for a brief few seconds. So ignore the jumping. We don't do anything about it. Good. And as soon as he sits, you reward the sit. And here in a second, you're going to see he actually goes potty. And so I'm going to reward that as well. He did go potty. So I marked it, potty. Here it is. I marked this behavior, potty, and then good, and I gave him a reward for that too. So we're rewarding two behaviors. We're rewarding sitting, and we're also rewarding potty outdoors. Potty, so here he's going to try, okay, is it sitting or is it jumping that gets the reward? He's still going to go through that on and off. And as you'll see, throughout the day, I'm going to work this in small increments, and that automatic sit should become longer and longer. And you'll see in the next video, after just a few hours, he's sitting for longer periods of time. So here we are later that day, and as you can see, Mugsy is now offering the sit as an automatic behavior instead of the jumping. He has learned that the jumping doesn't get anything. And this was just after a few short sessions, maybe 2 to 5 minutes each. And as the days progress in doing these behaviors and these training sessions, the automatic behavior will become more and more frequent, and the jumping will become extinct because he just won't do it anymore. So as you see from that video, I was waiting for Mugsy to give me an alternate behavior, which was sitting. And I reinforced that with food reward, and I ignored the jumping behavior. I worked with Mugsy for just a few minutes throughout the day, and within just a few minutes he was catching on. And as the day went on, he offered that alternative behavior more and more quickly, and he was holding it longer and longer. He was less likely to engage in the jumping. And now if I continue this on a daily basis, over time, the jumping behavior will cease altogether because he's not getting any response at all for the jumping behavior. Now you'll notice that when I rewarded Mugsy for the sit, I gave the reward even though he broke from the sit. If I were teaching the command sit, I would have withheld the reward at that time unless he remained seated, and I would have coupled the automatic behavior with the word sit, but I wasn't training the sit at this time. I marked the behavior with the word good because I marked that that's the behavior I want, and then I gave the reward. If I wanted, I could have trained a solid sit at this time as well, but for the purpose of this video, I wasn't going to focus on training the sit. I will show you how to train a solid sit in another video. So what if you have an adult dog that jumps on you? The same principles apply. The first thing you do is identify how you may be reinforcing the behavior, and the second thing is to be consistent. Keep those two things in mind at all times. There are two things that you can do to train an adult dog not to jump on you. And the first one is when you come home, if your dog starts to jump on you, you simply turn your back on him. And don't look at him, don't talk to him, don't make eye contact, nothing. Just act as if he's not even there. 9 times out of 10, most dogs will come around and they still want to look at your face, so they'll swing around and start jumping over here. So what you do is you just turn around again. And you may have to do this 5 or 10 times. You don't say anything to the dog, don't touch the dog, don't talk to the dog, act like he's not there. With this technique, you will have to be patient. It depends on how long your dog's been jumping on you. If he's been jumping on you for years, it may take some time for him to get used to learning a new behavior, that's what gets the attention. And some dogs may even start to jump more in the beginning. And what that's called is an extinction burst. They'll try harder, they'll do more things, they may even get vocal, and that's called an extinction burst. And I'll also cover extinction bursts in another video, but for now it's just important to remember, no matter how hard your dog tries, do not give the reward at that time. If you give a reward during this time when he's trying even harder, you've just reinforced that behavior, so he'll try harder the next time. That's where he'll start the next time. He won't start by just jumping a little, he may start jumping, barking, really hitting you, because that's what got the reward the last time. So it's very important not to reward the dog or reinforce the dog at all for any type of jumping behavior. Many dogs like petting and praise, but a food reinforcement really does tend to get a dog to work more quickly, especially if it's a food reward that they really like. The longer a dog engages in a behavior, the more ingrained that behavior becomes. And the longer you keep a behavior from happening, it becomes an extinct behavior. Dogs are self-serving opportunists, and they do what works. And if a behavior no longer works, they'll just cease doing the behavior. If you use this technique every time your dog jumps on you, then most dogs catch on pretty quickly, and they should stop jumping. But some dogs don't. So there is another way you can prevent your dog from jumping on you, and this is my personal favorite. It's when you come home and your dog tries to jump on you, you just walk through your house like you own it, because you do, right? So just walk through your house, again, ignore the dog, don't pet the dog, don't talk to the dog, don't make eye contact, and just put your things down, get a drink of water, get some food, change your clothes, whatever it is you do after work, but totally ignore your dog. Your dog will jump most dogs jump for about maybe 5 minutes, some even less, and eventually they'll calm down. And as soon as your dog calms down, he may sit, he may just walk away, or he may just have all 4 feet on the floor. Then you give him the reward. Then you pet him, praise him, or give him a food reward. If you've trained your dog a solid sit or a solid down, and I'm talking a solid sit, not a sit your butt down and pop right back up, you can do that. You can walk through your house if he's jumping on you, tell him to sit, and then reward the sit. But if your dog's not proficient at that, then I wouldn't. It's just best to ignore the dog and don't reward any behavior except for calm behavior. And if you are consistent, he will quickly catch on that instead of jumping, he has to be calm to get the attention. And you can practice this frequently by going in and out of your house throughout the day. You don't have to wait until you've gone to the store or you're coming home from work. You can actually, on a Saturday, just go in and out several times a day. After you get off work, go in and out several times a day and practice this behavior. The more you practice, the more consistent you are, the quicker response you're going to have from your dog. With our pet care business, we're in and out of our house frequently. And if our dogs aren't with us, if they're in the house, they'll see us go in and out of our house several times throughout the day. And we don't acknowledge our dogs every time we come in and out of the house, so they've learned that they don't even get off their bed. They don't even look at us most of the time we come in and out of the house. They know that at the end of the day, they're going to get fed, so they do come up to us. But again, all 4 feet are on the floor, and they will get attention that way. This has been the case with all of our dogs throughout the years, and so if you're consistent, this does work for all dogs. And some people say, well, I like it when my dog's happy when I come home. You have to ask yourself, well, do you like when your dog is happy to see you, or do you like when he's excited and jumping? Because they're two separate things, because a dog can still be happy with all 4 feet on the floor. You have to ask yourself, are you rewarding a calm, happy dog, or are you rewarding an excited, out of control dog? Because you'll get whichever behavior you reinforce. And some people like their dog jumping on them, and if that's you, then that's fine. But you do have to keep in mind that if your dog jumps on you, he's going to jump on other people as well. And if people come over to your home and he jumps on them, especially if he injures someone with his claws or puts bruises on their legs, or say he knocks down a young child, that's a problem. People don't like that, and it can cause injury to people. You can't allow your dog to jump on you, but then expect him not to jump on other people. It's an unreasonable expectation. If you want your dog to jump on you and not others, you can train a command to jump on you. With our dogs, we train the command hugs. We'll say hugs, and we'll do this and put our hands out, and the dog will jump on us, maybe give us a kiss, and then that's it, it's over. They know that's the only time they can jump on us. If you have a dog that jumps on you, identify how you may be reinforcing the behavior. Be consistent. That is the key. And implement these techniques, and in a short time you should have a dog that greets you and your guests politely. If you've tried some of these techniques and they haven't worked for you, or you're just having problems, please don't hesitate to leave us a comment in the comment section below, or you can visit our website, supermutts.com, and send us an email through there. We'll put links below to our website as well as to our book, How You May Order Our Book, Puppy Montessori. It does cover jumping up as well as other unwanted behaviors. If you like this video and would like to see more dog training videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. And we hope to see you next time. Bye.